You know that feeling where you take one step forward and then one or two or maybe three steps back with your parenting, and you're like, what is going on? What am I doing wrong here? If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that at the beginning, I usually say something like, welcome to Worldly Families. I'm Justine Janae. Traveling to over 40 countries and living abroad has opened my eyes to new ways of being and doing. I'm all about helping you expand your horizons so you can live and parent more intentionally and more joyfully. In this video, I'm going to break down what I mean by living and parenting more intentionally and more joyfully. I don't feel like I am a pro at parenting. I don't feel like I have all the right answers. I don't feel like everything that I do is effective. I feel like I'm figuring it out just like we all are. And sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they work for a while and then they stop working. And it's just a journey. But intentional parenting means that you're being mindful about what you're trying, what's working, how you're being, how that's being received, what the relationship is between you and your children and your partner if you have one, and your partner and your children, and how all of those dynamics are working or not working for your family. And you're being really intentional about what you're going to do next. All I know is that try. I try my best in every single moment. I am so intentional about what my children are absorbing, about the way that I'm speaking to them. And that doesn't mean I'm always perfect. It means sometimes I lose my cool or I have to walk away, but I'm intentional about communicating the fact that I'm overly frustrated and I need to walk away. And sometimes even that doesn't happen. And sometimes I bark or I snap or whatever. And then I'm intentional about apologizing and breaking down my own behavior and analyzing what went wrong there, modeling that for my kids. I think constantly about what they're absorbing at the dinner table, what's being talked about, what's being said about money or certain people or whatever it is. I'm constantly thinking about how are we wiring our kids? What are we conditioning them to think and feel and believe about certain topics, about themselves, about our family, about me? And that to me is intentional parenting. So it doesn't mean you're a rock star, you're always going to get it right, and everything's always going to be effective. But it does mean that you're trying. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing is trying. I'm reading books. I'm trying things out. I'm absorbing as much as I can about how to be a better parent. And I'm putting those things into practice and then sharing with you. I'm constantly aware of what's happening. Even in those moments when I'm losing it, there's another voice in my mind that is watching myself lose it. It means being aware of the impact that your thoughts and actions and beingness have on yourself, on others, and on the planet. That to me is intentional living. And if we can model that, it doesn't always mean that our actions are going to have a positive consequence, but having the awareness of what the consequence was and then talking about it or journaling about it or whatever your process is to move to, okay, what would I do differently next time? And maybe next time you don't do it differently because you have an ingrained habit, but you still have the awareness. And maybe next time you catch yourself a little bit sooner and a little bit sooner. And that's all we can hope for our children too. So by modeling that intentionality and constantly working to improve ourselves, our children will see that and they will constantly work to improve themselves. I'm also trying to help you live more joyfully. What does that mean to me? It doesn't mean you're always happy. I am not always happy, but feeling the full spectrum of emotions and modeling that for my kids and talking through those emotions teaches them empathy, and it allows me to be authentic with what's really going on for me. So instead of just putting on a happy face, true joy is being able to be your authentic self and allowing your children to be their authentic selves. If my videos are adding value to your life, please like and subscribe and click the bell to be notified every time I release a new one. I hope this video helps clarify what Worldly Families is all about. Living joyfully and living intentionally is not an end goal. It's not something you achieve at some point. It's a process, and it's a constantly evolving process, and it's an imperfect process. And once we embrace that and allow ourselves a little grace and a little forgiveness for those times we mess up, we take it as data. We don't shame ourselves. We go, interesting. All right, let's look at that. In this situation, I did X. Wish I would have done Y. What led to that? How can I change that next time? And just try to improve each time. And then forgive yourself for the times where you just totally backslide. That, to me, is the key to a beautiful life.